Thank you so much for going down memory lane with me. Let me take you back and tell you a story about Bachelli's. Bachelli's was an Italian restaurant there in Canton, Ohio, off of Whipple Avenue. As I said before, my Aunt Betty, I used to call her Aunt Bodie because I never could get it down when I was young. Never could say Betty, so. With that being said, I used to call her Aunt Bodie, and it stuck. So anyway, Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie had taken me and my cousin Sean, which my cousin Sean, by the way, calls her Bebo. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. My cousin Sean calls her Bebo. So you can imagine all the different names that she had to contend with because her two nieces, my Uncle Greg's nieces, of course, Devin and Tara used to call her Uncle Betty. So you can imagine all the names that she had to respond to with all their nieces and nephews. Nonetheless, the story of Bachelli's. Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie did a lot with Sean and I, and Bachelli's was one of those times there, where we would just basically, getting to know what a great man Uncle Greg was, and we were basically just starting to make that first impression of Uncle Greg. Here he is. When him and Aunt Bodie got together, close to the time they had gotten together, they we were trying to make, or at least I was anyway, trying to make an impression, to be a quote unquote good child, trying to make a good impression with Uncle Greg. And we had sat down to eat, and everybody would order something. I'm not quite sure what everybody else ordered, but I ordered rigatoni with meat sauce. Big fan of rigatoni, the big, thick, little, like square noodle things, if you will. Not much on spaghetti, and for a lot of reasons I won't go into that. But I love rigatoni. I think it's one of the better pastas when it comes to spaghetti or other things. Also a big fan of ziti man. But anyway, nonetheless, everybody would order stuff, and we were sitting there talking. Like I said, it was just a way of getting to basically trying to adapt or be, for me anyway, trying to impress Uncle Greg, and make Uncle Greg think that, that hey, this kid's got his head on his shoulders and whatnot. Well, Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie gets up at the same time because they have to use the bathroom. And Uncle Greg's like, gentlemen, he goes, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. You Aunt Betty and I have to use the restroom. Okay. Well, they used the restroom, and while they were gone, the food comes. Of course, me and Sean were taking the glasses of water and banging spoons on them, just sitting there reminiscence of a song that we had heard. Well, I accidentally knock over the one water, and it goes on Uncle Greg's plate there and spills all over whatever he had at the time. And I remember I didn't know what to do. Sean, he snickered about it because Sean, he thought it was funny. I'm sitting there and tears are starting to come down my eyes. And when Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie get back, Uncle Greg was sitting there, and he's like, "What's so funny, Sean?" Sean didn't answer him. He looked at me. He goes, "Why are you crying for, Raj?" Well, I didn't know how to explain it to him. I didn't know how to explain it to him. And finally, after about maybe 25, 30 seconds of hesitation, I said, "Uncle Greg," I said, "I'm sorry." Well, what are you sorry about? So we were just messing around and banging around on our glasses and stuff. And I remember, I went and spilled water on your food. He's like, "You did?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm sorry, Uncle Greg. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to." He's like, "Well, Raj," he goes, "these things happen." I said, "No." I said, Sean, I was horsing around, playing around, and we shouldn't have done that, and I apologize for that." He goes, "Well, Roger," he goes, "I appreciate your honesty." He goes, I appreciate you being honest with me and letting me know what you did. And he goes, things like that happen. He goes, sometimes we all mess around and do things, and sometimes consequences come out of that. He goes, but I do appreciate you being honest with me. He goes, but he's like, don't worry about it. This, everything's okay. I believe that he went and had him get him a new one, because watered food or watered down food don't taste too good, especially if it's pasta or some kind of Italian. Doesn't taste too good watered down. Nothing does. Nonetheless, I'll never forget that time at Bachelli's. There's with Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie. Like I said, trying to make a first impression on Uncle Greg. And I know to this day Uncle Greg's very proud of me, the man I have become, the father I have become. And I owe it all to Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie, because a lot of the things they've done, their influences, just the way that they had taken me and Sean out and tried to show us right from wrong and what everything was and everything like that. It was just wonderful. And like I said, I love them. I love my Uncle Greg and I love my Aunt Bodie. And one thing I'll never forget, like I said, is that time at Bachelli's spilling water on Uncle Greg's food. And like I said, Uncle Greg could basically say, hey, that's not a problem. Things like this happen. And Uncle Greg was, when Uncle Greg got mad, he was silent for a minute, and then he would let you know, and let you have it. Go down memory lane with me to In Trouble While Bowling, and you'll get a little gist of exactly what I'm talking about. And like I said, Uncle Greg could be calm, but he could also be, and he wasn't explosive. He just basically was very calm. But yet, when he got mad, it was about the same thing. He was like a calm mad, and he tried to tell you how he felt. I love them. I love Uncle Greg. I love Aunt Bodie. And like I said, the Bachelli's is not there to this day. It's a steakhouse now. Never forget that time. A story of Bachelli's. One of the great times going out and enjoying times with Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie. I love you, Uncle Greg and Aunt Bodie. And you, people, thank you so much for going down memory lane with me. I'll catch you next time.